Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 18th of February. Following McShane's readings, we begin in Exodus today. The story continues. Joseph and his brothers die, but their descendants become numerous. A new king comes to the throne many, many years later, knows nothing of the story of Joseph, and he enslaves the people of Israel. He enslaves the Hebrews. And then, in verse 15, we're told, the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, when you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. But if it's a girl, let her live. The midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. They let the boys live. As a result, the numbers kept increasing. They were called back to Pharaoh. They made an excuse. But God honored them. Verse 21, and because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. And as I reflected on that, I thought it's highly unlikely that any of us are going to be called by some authority figure to commit genocide. Not entirely impossible, but very unlikely. And I trust that if it did happen, we would stand firm and say, no, not at all. We'll have nothing to do with that. But do we stand for God? Do we fear God enough to stand against power and to stand against society? And it's far more likely that we'll be at a dinner party and somebody will make an off-color joke, or there'll be some racist comment. Do we bite our tongues, or do we stand up to them? Do we just go along with the flow of the evening and mutter when we get home? Or do we take a stand and say, no, I'm not prepared to be part of that? In the same way that the midwife said, no, we're not prepared to be part of that. That's a lot more challenging, because that's the kind of thing that's likely to happen. And if we do make a stand, we're likely to become unpopular. And we probably, if we've complained about the joke or embarrassed Auntie so-and-so because of her comments, we're not going to be invited to the next dinner. Are we prepared to do that? And that is a challenge for us as Christians. Our faith needs to shape our whole life and determine what we do and how we do it. As Christians, we must remember we are never called to fit in. We're always called to stand out. In the same way that the midwives did, in the same way that you read through the scriptures, people did time and again. Our call is to be different, stand for God, and thereby make a difference in society. So I pray that you will not be put in difficult situations, but when you are, you'll have the strength of the Spirit in you to take a stand, to stand against authority and against the power of the collective and social convention. Stand for what is right and make a difference. As you do that, you may not be popular, but you will be blessed.